Well, the Labour Party's campaign hit its first major bump in the road today. It's all about Diane Abbott. Ms Abbott was suspended from the Labour Party in April 2023 amid a racism and anti-Semitism scandal. Talking about Jewish people, the Irish and travellers, she said they undoubtedly experience prejudice. This is similar to racism, and the two words are often used as if they were interchangeable. It is true that many types of white people with points of difference, such as redheads, can experience this prejudice, but they are not all their lives subject to racism. She lost the Labour whip, they launched an investigation, and the line from Labour was that we'd have to wait and see what the result of that was before they'd made a decision about Diane.
There seems to be room for Natalie Elphicke down in Dover, but not Diane Abbott up here in London. Can you welcome Diane Abbott back to your happy fold?
Well, look, Diane is going through a process, Nick, as you know, in relation to the investigation of an issue relating to her. That's not finally resolved yet.
But now Sir Keir Starmer is accused of lying about this. It's emerged that investigation apparently finished in December last year. So she was given a warning and told to attend a 2-hour anti-Semitism awareness course, reportedly. So why would he potentially lie about it? Yesterday, the initial noise was that Diane Abbott had been booted out of the Labour Party. Then reports said she'd been accepted back in and got the whip back. Then they said she wouldn't be standing as a candidate, and now it looks like she will be standing. It's a circus. Here's the latest from the Labour leader.
No, that's not true. No decision has been taken to bar Diane Abbott. The process that we were going through ended with the restoration of the whip the other day. So she's a member of the Parliamentary Labour Party, and no decision has been taken barring her.
Here's what Wes Streeting had to say about it.
Do you feel comfortable about what's happened here with Diane Abbott?
No, not particularly. I think this has gone on for a very long time, but I'm here this morning to talk about the NHS waiting lists and what we do about them.
Do you think she's owed?
And I say this with enormous respect for everything that Diane has achieved in politics, and I have a great deal of respect for what she's achieved in politics, actually.
Well, here was Diane Abbott's initial reaction. She said, naturally, I am delighted to have the Labour whip restored and to be a member of the Parliamentary Labour Party. Thank you to all those who supported me along the way. I will be campaigning for a Labour victory, but I'm very dismayed that numerous reports suggest I have been barred as a candidate. And the whole thing took another twist this afternoon when it emerged that Labour's Graham Jones will be allowed to stand as a Labour MP. He famously said this.
In Israel again, no British person should be fighting for any other country. At all, full stop. It's against the law and you should be locked up.
In case you missed that there, he was saying that anyone who left Britain to go and fight for the Israeli Defence Force should be, quote, locked up. But the left-wing press hasn't been too kind to Sir Keir Starmer over this. A headline here from The Guardian reads, Labour's shocking treatment of Diane Abbott could alienate black voters for years to come. Well, and the breaking news earlier on this evening, addressing a crowd outside Hackney Town Hall, Diane Abbott has vowed to be the MP for Hackney North and Stoke Newington, quote, as long as it is possible. Was there an attempt to stage-manage Diane Abbott's exit from the Labour Party? If so, it has gone catastrophically wrong. But the big question is this. Should Diane Abbott be allowed to stand at this election as a Labour candidate? Let's get the thoughts of my panel this evening. It's the Director of Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood. I've got landlord and activist Adam Brooks. And I've got author and journalist Rebecca Reid. Mark, I'll start with you. How can Labour be fine with Natalie Elphicke and then have Diane Abbott potentially not standing? I mean, should she be allowed to stand as a Labour candidate?
Well, that is a decision for the Labour Party. What I find absolutely gobsmacking here, Patrick, you read out her supposedly offensive letter in The Guardian. I think it was offensive. That was 13 months ago. That is the totality of the evidence. There's no DNA samples to collect. You don't need to pretend you're playing forensic detectives. This isn't an episode of NSIS. They should have been able to make a decision within 24 hours on whether they were going to kick her out of the party. There's no more evidence to look at. 13 months on, and a general election a few weeks away, they still can't decide. She can, of course, run as an independent, but Keir Starmer can't seem to make a decision.
Well, on this, I'm just getting this in my ear now. Apparently, there's been another development recently, a few minutes ago or something. Jeremy Corbyn's backed her, I believe. Well, shock horror, but there we go. Let's have a look.
there are thousands of people outside Hackney Town Hall in support of Diane Abbott. Obviously, I'm not there with her, but I've sent a message of support, because democracy within parties as well as within communities is a very important part of our lives.
So that's at Jeremy Corbyn's campaign launch, which is taking place this evening. Rebecca, I put it to you, it's not the best look for the Labour leader, is it? If he's got Jeremy Corbyn saying, oh, come on, you need to bring Diane back, and then he does bring Diane back.
Well, also, if I was battling an anti-Semitism allegation, the last person I want defending me would be Jeremy Corbyn. I think that the comms on this have been really bad, and I'm very disappointed because I think they have done brilliant work thus far on purging anti-Semitism from the party. But unfortunately, I think there's a lot of love for her. I think she's done a lot of good things, and they're letting that blind them to the fact that if you say something that's stupid, you have to go.
OK. Adam, your views on whether or not Diane Abbott should be allowed to stand as a Labour MP?
Of course she shouldn't. If she had said those things about Muslims instead of Jews, she would never be welcomed back into the Labour Party. That's the fact. Now, she said so many terrible things, race-baiting things over the years. I can't believe she's being lauded. Who cares that she's a woman of colour? That doesn't bother me. What colour she is or what gender she is, she shouldn't get away with a lot of the things that she's got away with. For me, 2019, there's two reasons Labour got trounced. You know, one was Jeremy Corbyn and the population was scared stiff of him, and the other was the fault of her as Home Secretary.
Well,
she's laughable.
What has she said that was race-baiting previously?
She said many things in 2012.
Well, it was precisely the letter in The Guardian.
I agree with that.
In 2012, she insinuated that black cab drivers were racist and that they weren't picking up black passengers. The list goes on.
Are there not studies that suggest that it is harder to get a cab as a black person?
Oh, come off it, Rebecca.
There are.
Please.
That's not to say they're all racist. Of course they're not.
Please do not defend her race-baiting over the years. Diane Abbott has said so many divisive things.
She did insinuate that West Indian mothers care more about their children than
in defence of her sending her children to private schools, that she mocked people for doing so and that they shouldn't be in existence. So she's a hypocrite as well as a race baiter as well.
Rebecca, well, it's Sylvia, obviously, but Rebecca, I mean, she said things as well, like Mao did more good than harm.
I'm not with her on that at all, but I suppose, Boris Johnson called black people pickaninnies with watermelon smiles and said that women wearing burqas are like letterboxes. People do say stupid things sometimes. I think the problem is she's not consistently on message. She has also, to me, a bigger issue is that she's so often got her figures wrong. I think that she has done a huge amount of good for Hackney and she's been a fantastic MP, but she is no longer serving the party.
Maybe she should be a councillor instead of an MP.
I'm not sure what good has she done?
I think on the sort of like grassroots basis, she's a much loved MP and she's been re-elected how many times? 5, 6?
I would have thought any Labour candidate.
Everybody who lives there.
Labour will hold that seat, whoever the candidate.
No, but I'm not
yet aware. I mean, I'm not picking on her particularly, but I'm not yet aware of her stunning achievements in policy reform.
I think she's just considered to be an incredibly good MP and much loved by her constituents, which is a decent achievement.
I mean, everybody's lauding these great policy achievements that she's
achieved
over 37 years. Not sure what they are.
Of the 37 years.
Other than being one of the key people who led Labour to a disastrous defeat.
Her party's been in opposition for almost all of the time.
There is another aspect to this, which is Keir Starmer's leadership on this. Now, if it is the case that he has actually lied about when this report was finished and when he knew about it and everything, how on earth can we trust him to run a country if he can't even manage Diane Abbott?
I mean, has he lied? Has he said that the report wasn't finished in December?
He kept saying he's going to wait for the results of this report, wait for the results of this report.
There might be addendums
and then it broke last night that apparently that report was finished.
My guess is that if there is this course she's supposed to go on, that course hasn't been done yet, and that was what was going to be the thing that put the full stop on the end of it. Now, I don't think you can have a 2-hour course that makes you not racist or not anti-Semitic. I think if you express those, it takes more than 2 hours. But I imagine that's probably their logic.
Exactly. I think when you think about it, an anti-Semitism awareness course.
It's feeble, Patrick. Look, I mean, they should have been able to take a decision within 24 hours
Which
on
they
this
have
particular case.
with Lloyd Russell Moyle, who's been suspended.
But on this case, why has it taken 13 months and the leader of the Labour Party and our presumptive Prime Minister still doesn't know what the conclusion is. We've also got the Shadow Chancellor saying she can't present a budget for 10 weeks because she wants the OBR to write it for her. If we elect the Labour Party on July the 4th, is this procrastination and inability to make any sort of decision going to be the standard operating procedure of our next government?
Come on, there have been plenty of other people who have been dismissed for inappropriate behaviour. He has got rid of other people.
So why is this taking 13
He is
months?
suspended because she's much loved, and I think they're trying. It's politics within politics.
I think it's
much love.
It's pretty obvious that there's many factions of the Labour Party and there's infighting going on, but it would take a spectacular, chaos for them to lose this election.
And it's not going to be on this, is it?